I'm Carol Marine. The news is Taped with Rabbi Doug is next.
We're gonna see Rabbi Doug. We're gonna see Rabbi Doug. We're gonna see Rabbi Doug on your TV tonight. But Daddy, I wanna watch Monday Night Football.
Forget about Monday Night Football. There's no other thing we're gonna watch on Monday but Rabbi Doug.
Yeah, Rabbi Doug on TV tonight. We're gonna see Rabbi Doug. Oh, everybody talk about Doug.
Shalom and welcome to Taped with Rabbi Doug. Glad you could be with us today. My guest today on the show is Aaron Zivic. He is an attorney, a J.D., and he and his son Aaron, who's also J.D., and a Master's of Public Administration, have written a series of books, How to Keep Your Social Security Disability Benefits. And tell me, how does one who is an attorney, and you in your case are retired, specialize or how should I say, focus in on Social Security benefits as for people with disabilities as a kind of something that you take on in your practice, rather than saying, I'm going to take on people who have problems with the IRS or taxes or so on and so forth. What makes you want to focus on that, and how do you learn to focus on that?
I was tremendously blessed to learn about this area of the law. It's not something they teach in law school, and I only learned about it after I got into the field and worked a little bit. I was a child that went to college in the late 60s and early 70s, where there was a lot of activism.
Where did you go to undergrad?
University of Illinois.
University of Illinois, Champaign?
Correct.
In Champaign.
And interestingly enough, I know your daughter goes there.
She just graduated from there.
I was president of the Hillel Dining Club when I was there.
Very nice.
But I was there, and there was a lot of activism, and you wanted to do good things. So when I became a lawyer, I really wanted to do good things, and I found out about this area of the law, and one of the people who I was working for was doing that, and I took this area and I created a whole practice. I was blessed. I did this for over 30 years all across the country, and I would get thank you notes and candy and flowers from clients, and it was just really rewarding. I have a book of thank you notes, basically a brag book that's several inches thick of people just thanking me.
Now, people with disabilities can collect Social Security for a number of different reasons for those disabilities. Someone who's injured on a job has a disability, somebody who has a mental disability, somebody who worked and is no longer able to work because of something that happened. How does someone become categorized as a person with a disability to collect Social Security to begin with before they're the age of Social Security, which is, I guess, 65 or 62 and a half, and you can tell us that.
Actually, the retirement age is a moving target. Right now it's 66 point something. But I'll give the thumbnail of disability is the inability to do any kind of work at all for a period of 1 year or more. Not whether or not anybody will hire you, because people won't hire you if you're sick, but it's whether or not you're able to do any kind of work. And it's based upon your education. The more education you have, theoretically, the more different types of jobs you can do. And your skills, if you have what are known as transferable skills, where you can apply them to other kinds of jobs. So that's the thumbnail definition, inability to do any kind of work for a period of 1 year or more.
So let's say that a person has some kind of issue at their job and has to quit because they can't do that job anymore because of an injury or because of whatever situation. They come along and the people let them go because of it. They go to collect unemployment, and they collect unemployment, and unemployment says, that's it. You need to go out and find a job, but you can't find a job because of this disability that came along. What is the borderline that category runs over into disability from not being able to find a job? Who makes that decision?
Well, that's a fine line. What's interesting is people used to apply for unemployment and disability simultaneously. But there's a problem with that. If you're applying for unemployment, you're representing to the state that you're ready, willing, and able and work. But if you're applying for Social Security disability, you're representing that you can't do any kind of work. So it depends, once again, upon your age, education, work background. Let's say you're a surgeon. and all of a sudden one of your hands is non-functioning for whatever reason. So you're no longer employable as a surgeon, but can you do other types of work? Can you review medical records? Can you teach? So even though you can't do your old job, this person could do other kind of jobs. But then let's get down to the fact, let's say you have a factory worker that was basically involved in doing just a one or two-step task, moving something, putting something on a part, and they lose their hands. Are they employable or not? It's harder for that person to find a job. And then it depends upon your age. If you're older, it works in your favor because it's harder to retrain you and learn new skills. If you're younger, then it works against you.
So do people from the Social Security Administration, do they audit people who've been deemed to have a disability, like the IRS audits people who claim things on their taxes?
By law, it's not really an audit. By law, they're required to review everybody's claim every 5 years. In reality, it hasn't been happening as much as it should because the agency doesn't have the resources to do that. However, the way the political climate is now, reviews of cases, which are known as continuing disability reviews, or CDRs, for the alphabet of that, are being done more and more. And now there are over 1 million reviews done every year of people on Social Security disability.
Wow. So tell me, you have 3 volumes of how to keep your Social Security disability benefits that you've written. Do people lose their Social Security benefits and then get a lawyer and say, I should be on my disability still, and the lawyer has to go to court or go before a hearing officer to claim why that person should still be on disability? Do those things happen up and back?
Sure, all the time. However, the problem here, and why I wrote this book, is when you get a letter from Social Security that says that they're reviewing your claim, you have 10 days to make a lot of decisions, and you can't hire a lawyer because you're getting your money on a regular basis. And Social Security asks you, do you want to stop getting your money or do you want to keep getting your money during dependency of this claim? So most people need those resources to put a roof over their head, put food on their table, things like that. So of course you keep your money going. Lawyers get paid out of past due benefits or back benefits. In this situation, there will be no past due benefits, so there is no way for an attorney to get paid. So attorneys cannot help people that are having their cases reviewed. You have to be prepared to do it yourself. And the day to start doing that is actually the day you get awarded your benefits. If you wait till you receive a letter, it's too late. You'll be scrambling. If you take this as your one responsibility to take care of keeping track of your medical records, going to the doctor to make sure to be updated on your health, these things will go a long way toward helping keep your benefits.
Wow. So give me a scenario right now of somebody who is collecting Social Security benefits because of a disability, and they deem him able to go back to work. Is he going to get a letter in the mail that says, we are cutting off your benefits because you're able to work again, and then he has 10 days to appeal
Well,
on
first,
his own?
what'll happen is you're going to get a letter that says, we're reviewing your claim, and they're going to ask you certain questions. And the goal is to have this done where nobody really looks at this very carefully. So you have to answer the questions in a very succinct manner and provide exactly what Social Security is looking for. And so they're going to want to know where you've been to the doctor, what medications you're taking. So one of the points in the book is buy yourself a notebook. Keep track of your doctor's appointments. When you go to the doctor, actually say, I want a copy of my medical records. There's no reason not to get it. If you ask for it later, the doctor will charge you money for those medical records, and it's not necessarily that you're going to get it all. So, and who can remember? Let's say it's 7 years later you get a letter from Social Security. You don't remember every appointment you've been to, but if you have this notebook and you have this record of where you've been and what you've done, boom, boom, you can check everything off really quickly on their forms and get it back to them on a timely basis, detail why you're still disabled and can't do any kind of work, and it should just pass through with flying colors.
So a lot of people who are watching us right now are going to say, maybe I should read this book because I'm collecting Social Security because of my disability, and I don't know what's going to happen in the future. What do you think the key information that you give in your 3 volumes is for a person who's collecting Social Security disability who might be in jeopardy of losing it?
Everybody on Social Security disability is in jeopardy of losing it. There are 15 million people in the United States on Social Security disability. And it's not just those people that are affected. Their families are affected because they get a family benefit. So those children will lose money, and your whole income structure is going to be greatly impacted.
Let me make this clear that I'm understanding what you're saying. When a person goes on Social Security disability because they're injured on a job or whatever the case might be, they have an injury and they can't work anymore, the amount of Social Security that they are going to collect is going to also be based on how many children they have that they're supporting and their households. So that's what I was unclear what you just said.
The amount that they're going to collect is going to be based upon what they put into the system.
Right.
However, you receive a family benefit, and that, which is equal to 1/2 of that amount that you receive. Let's say you get $1,000, then the family gets $500. But that is split among, if you have 8 kids, the $500 is split among the 8 children.
So it's a set amount.
It's a set amount.
It's a set amount.
But it impacts your whole structure. So you have to be prepared to defend yourself. And if, it's crazy. I will talk to people, and they'll hear what I have to say, but they're so unmotivated. When I was practicing law, I can't tell you the number of people that came to me in this situation with a continuing disability review, and there was nothing I could do to help them. However, when they ended their case, I told every one of them, you need to prepare for the day that Social Security is going to review your case. Nobody listens to me. There's no way, I've never been able to figure out, even till this day, how to convey the sense of urgency that people should have with respect to this. It's not hard to do. You go to the doctor, you write down where you've been, you write what you've been treated for, and you're good to go, and you get a copy of that record and put it away. However, people will not be responsible for themselves. It's a malaise in society, I think, just like people can't keep track of their own calendars. I mean, think about the times that doctors, dentists, or whoever have to call to remind you for their appointment. People are not being responsible for themselves. But there's so much at stake here. And everybody that's on disability, Social Security disability, should buy this book.
Wow. So let me ask another question in this realm. A person who is not on disability but collecting Social Security and their benefits are cut off for some reason, do the same apparatuses, do they apply to them to keep records with their Social Security in case they lose their benefits? Are other people also in jeopardy of losing Social Security benefits? For example, someone came to me and told me a story about how they were collecting Social Security, and then they said that she and her husband didn't pay enough into Social Security when they were working. She didn't work, and he didn't work long enough in a job that paid Social Security, so she got cut off. Is there a way to save those situations and benefits also?
There's not. I'm assuming you're talking about retirement benefits.
I'm talking about retirement.
Okay.
Somebody was retired.
So if Social Security made a mistake, and it's their mistake, then you should not have to repay that money. End the story. And what people should do during their working lives, every few years, you can go to Social Security, you can go online and get a copy of your work history and make sure that it's accurate, that the amount you put in is accurately portrayed there, and that nobody else is taking your account. Social Security has this online account situation, and if you have not claimed your account on socialsecurity.gov, you need to do that right away, because if you don't claim it, somebody else will. Wow. And that won't be you. So if you claim it, in theory, it should be protected. What I always found just amazing is how much money Social Security spends trying to protect that system, and they do it because they say it saves on staff. It'd probably be cheaper to hire people to put away the mail for $10 or $15 and push a pencil and do things the old-fashioned way than spend the millions upon millions of dollars they're spending trying to protect that system. And sooner or later, it's going to be hacked, because what isn't hacked?
So let me come to another situation that I think about in connecting to this, and that's a person who's collecting unemployment, and then unemployment comes along and says, you were overpaid, you shouldn't have collected unemployment from here to here, or whatever. You have to pay back that money that we gave you. You're telling me that in Social Security, if they made a mistake and paid you, you don't have to pay it back? You shouldn't have to?
That is correct. However, Social Security will tell you something different. But in the disability system, people would routinely get turned down once or twice before they would even come to me. And you know, I made a great living. I've been blessed to help so many people during the course of my life correcting Social Security's mistakes. So just because Social Security says something, it doesn't necessarily mean they're accurate. Always appeal.
So let me ask you, what was your wildest case? What was the wildest case, toughest case, not telling me the name of a person, of course, but that you came across and you yourself struggled with fighting this case and trying to get it straightened out for someone, and you came out on the positive side?
I'll tell you my proudest case. Was my parents had a lifelong friend here once they came to the United States, and who I've known my whole life, and they had a child who had a problem, and this person didn't live in the Chicago area, hired an attorney and lost. Then they applied again, hired an attorney and lost. Applied again, hired an attorney and lost. Finally.
And they had to pay out money to
No, the attorney only gets paid if they win in Social Security.
Okay.
And
that's what you said earlier.
And the nicest part about this is, so he finally listened to his mother and called me. And I was able to not only win that case, I was able to open up years and years of back benefits and get this person his money. So the mother I've known his mother my whole life, I've known him my whole life. And it's my proudest case that I was able to cure what was really a wrong for this person. And then I had another situation once where I had somebody that needed to get this benefit because they needed to get onto Medicare. One of the nice things is you're eligible for Medicare if you're on Social Security disability. There's a 2-year waiting period, but because of onset dates and things, a lot of times when you're awarded, you're immediately on Medicare. I had somebody that needed to have a case awarded. The judge denied the case, and it was a clear wrongdoing. So I asked the judge to reconsider, and so because there was new evidence that he had overlooked. So the judge was going to do that, and it was out of state, and I gave him a whole bunch of days that I was not available. So of course he picked the day where I was not available. I still went down there. I flew down there, and the judge was not going to pay this person benefits. And on top of this person was a veteran too. And I said, we're not leaving until you fix your wrong. And I just sat there, and it was like
you weren't afraid of being called in contempt of court?
I have a hard time with authority sometimes. I could tell you things not recording that would, it's just who I am. I have a hard time with authority. But anyway, so ultimately I got the judge to understand why the person needed their benefits, and I actually saved this person's life.
Wow, that's amazing. We're here on Tape with Rabbi Doug. I am here with Jerry Zivic. He is the attorney who he and his son Aaron, who happens to be a judge now also, wrote the book, How to Keep Your Social Security Disability Benefits, and we'll be right back. Stay with us.
If I am approved for Social Security Disability, SSD benefits, how much will I get? If you are a disabled worker, your benefit amount is determined by your earnings record and your age when you became disabled. These factors form the basis for calculating your benefit. If you are approved for disability benefits, the amount will be the same as it would be if you were at full retirement age. That is, your benefit will not be reduced. If you are a disabled adult child, your benefit is determined by your parents' earning record and the number of other dependents or survivors receiving benefits on the same record. If you are approved for disabled widows, widowers, or disabled surviving divorced spouses benefits, then your benefit amount is based on the earnings record of your deceased spouse and the age you became disabled. The older you are when you become disabled, the higher the benefit.
Stay tuned. Taped with Rabbi Doug will be right back.
I am American.
I am an American.
I'm an American.
I am American.
I am America.
I'm an American.
I am American.
I am an American.
I'm Judge Abner Mikva, and you're watching Taped with Rabbi Doug.
Welcome back. We're here on Taped with Rabbi Doug. I am here with Jerry Zivic. He is the attorney who wrote the book with his son Aaron, who's also an attorney, How to Keep Your Social Security Disability Benefits. Are there things in this book that would be beneficial to people who don't have Social Security disability benefits? Are there things that an attorney who works in Social Security benefits in other realms rather than disability might learn? What do you think the average person who's not on disability could learn from this book that they wouldn't have known, and it'll be beneficial for them?
I think you can apply some of the same principles in this book to keeping track of your claims for health insurance. Because basically a lot of these insurance companies just run around wearing buttons that say, just say no to claims. And if you need to be very detail orientated, and my rule of thumb is it's very hard to go backwards. If you make contemporaneous records, it makes a big difference. And also one of the tips that I give people is you want to keep up on your medical care. Even if the doctor says there's not a lot they can do for it, you need to stop in at least once a year. And as part of the 3-set work, I have this book of forms.
Yeah, this is interesting here, because you have forms such as that people might need to fill out under different situations. Now, are these universal in the United States? Are they specific to certain states? Tell me about the forms book that you wrote.
They're specific, they're disease-related forms. I have 28 specific diseases, and then I have a general residual functional capacity form. So what the best thing to do is if you can get your doctor to fill out a form once a year that details what your condition is and just put it away. Then you have this ongoing record that you have these problems that you've been having it treated the whole time. It's very critical. Doctors don't want to fill out forms, but these forms were designed that basically the doctor has to write yes, no, put a check mark. There's not a lot of verbal skills the doctor needs to be able to fill out this form. And what you have to remind doctors, part of practicing medicine is making sure that you're able to stay on your benefits, because if you're worried about paying your bills, then you're going to be sick. And the doctor has a financial reason to keep you on Social Security because they're getting Medicare. So if they're getting paid for Medicare, they have a reason to try and help you. But I don't understand why people are reluctant to require their doctors to fill out forms. It's just part of the whole realm of medicine.
Now, a person, for example, who's on unemployment has to go into the job market of their state and register themselves on a regular basis to continue to receive unemployment, so that they are actually shown that they're looking for jobs. You also have to turn in, I applied for this job, I applied for this job. Do you have to turn in regular benefit forms to continue with disability?
No.
Or will it continue until they question you, or until something comes along to get you ready to work again?
No, and that's where people get lackadaisical. Well, nobody's asking me, nobody wants to know, but sooner or later somebody can ask you, so be prepared. And that's why it's important to have an ongoing record of medical treatment. Social Security has made it more difficult for you to stay on claim and to even get your claim, in my opinion. It used to be that treating doctors were given the greatest weight of evidence, and it made sense. This doctor saw you, put his hands on you, and knows your condition. Now they've changed the rules of evidence that a consultating examiner, somebody that's never seen you, is just reviewing your medical record, that their opinion has as much weight as your treating doctor. So that's why it's important, if you can get these forms filled out that are designed for Social Security to come up with an answer as to whether or not you're disabled, you will help your case, and you will help the consultative doctor actually come to a conclusion too.
Are people who know of these forms, are they able to download similar forms online also? Are there forms that Social Security provides, or
no, these are Jerry Zivic forms, created over 30 years
So you actually created these forms yourself because you know that they're acceptable legally when when Social Security might question someone's case to help them keep their benefits?
I know it. I know they will help focus, because I know what Social Security is looking for. I know what test results they want, what opinions they want from a doctor, and it's focused on Social Security that they can know how to answer the questions that they're asking.
Really? So you went to school at the University of Illinois in Champaign. You went to law school at Loyola University in Chicago. Tell me, like, when you went to law school and you said, I'm going to become a lawyer, what did you have in mind? What kind of law did you want to practice? You ended up doing this, but what did you really want to practice when you started law school? What did you have in mind? Because a lot of people out there, just like you mentioned my daughter, by the way, you were the president in Hillel. She was the president of Illini Students Supporting Israel, part of SSI, and very involved in Hillel as well. You know, you get involved in all these organizations and then you say, I'm going to go to medical school, I'm going to go to law school. What did you have in mind? What was your focus at first when you said, I want to go to law school?
My focus was I wanted to help people, and honestly, I wanted to earn a living where I would be comfortable. I wanted to do both. And the area of law that I found actually allowed me to do both very, very nicely.
Really? Very interesting. So now, let me ask you this. You're officially retired. Obviously, you never retire. You're obviously giving advice to people. You don't have a regular clientele like you did when you had a law office open. But you're giving advice all the time. You're writing books. You're writing more books. Your son is in the business now. Obviously, you've passed down the love of Social Security disability benefits, along with his love of now becoming a judge. And you must be very proud, of course. What do you think you want to do in the future now, beyond writing these books? Is there something more that you haven't told people yet? Is there something more you want to share that you could share with our television audience now as we close the show?
Well, I'm blessed. I found out that retirement, doing nothing, is not such a great thing. I think, you can exercise your body, but you need to exercise your mind as well. So I am now the consumer watchdog for ABC TV Sarasota.
And I know you're on TV in Sarasota, Florida on a regular basis, aren't you?
Correct. And so what I do is I share my knowledge of Social Security, I share my knowledge of veterans benefits and other consumer items. And by this, helping people is my biggest motivator. And when people call me, I never accept. I'm not allowed to accept any fees, but I always encourage people to make a charitable donation for my help, because I actually think that if you give people knowledge and skill for free, they don't value it, I've learned over the years. So basically, it's like, if you want me to talk to you about something, you're going to have to make a charitable donation somewhere.
Very nice, very nice. Well, I want to thank you so much for being on the show. Jerry Zivic, the author of How to Keep Your Social Security Disability Benefits, a 3-volume set, written with his son Aaron as well, and it's tips, tools, and strategies for success. I know a lot of people learned a lot today. I know I learned a lot today. I want to wish you much success. If you want to know more about Jerry and his book, you can email us info@tvrabbi.com, and I will forward it to Jerry, and I know he'll get back to you personally. Remember, if you want to check out our website, www.tvrabbi.com is the website to also see not only this show, as well as seeing it on television, but also to see former shows on the web. I want to thank you once again, Jerry Zivic, for being on the show, and I wish you much success enjoying your retirement in Florida. And Chicago misses you, but we're glad to have you with us today. And remember, we'll be on next week. Hope to see you next time right here on Taped with Rabbi Doug. Shalom, everyone.
This is John Records Landecker, and this has been a Taped with Rabbi Doug production.